how much different it made me feel until I had to leave, go down there and work and eat out all my meals, and then I'd come home, and by the end of the weekend I was feeling better again. I wasn't really sick. This felt different. I felt better than when I was having to eat out all the time.
So I can put about 150 laying hens in here. I could probably put a few more, but that's the most I've ever run in there. Come on. Laying hens are able to get out on pasture and scratch and play and chase grasshoppers. And the birds, you can see I don't have a fence around them. The laying hens have pretty much free range wherever they want to go.
We started with a cow-calf pair about 12 years ago. Primarily Black Angus right now, but we'd like to shift over to Charolais cows with Hereford bulls.
We raise Dexter cattle. They are a heritage breed.
The start of our meat goat herd, and again, these guys not only are great animals to have around, they teach you a lot about fencing.
Dexter cattle originated in the southwestern parts of Ireland. During the 1800s, the English took them and tamed them.
The cattle are just now coming over here. They're, of course, our big lawnmowers.
Grass-fed beef is much leaner. They get grass, ours anyway, get grass and minerals and salts, which are essential to their nutrition, and that's it. We only vaccinate if we have a problem, so we don't do any pre-medicating, and no hormones, no steroids. We don't do any chemicals.
Grass-fed has a lot more potential health benefits versus grain-fed.
And it has a lot more things like a higher content of omega-3s. And there's a whole list of vitamins and things like that that are higher content in grass-fed beef than you'll find in commercial.
All cattle start out as grass-fed. Eventually, then they're switched to grain-fed for supply and demand. You don't raise them as long grain-fed. They take a steer at 6 months old. The average is about 600 pounds. And when they send them to a feedlot, in 3 to 4 months, that steer will double in weight.
We're eating all those hormones. The animals eat the hormones. It's in their meat. Then we ingest those hormones, and they have an effect on us as well.
But your big suppliers will deny that. They say that in 90 days it should be out of their system. But if they're in a confined area, in a feedlot, with the confined area, illnesses do happen. So therefore they have to continually give them antibiotics.
When you've got animals that are being fed a lot of antibiotics, anytime you got a confinement deal, you have to feed them that. Otherwise, think of it like a cruise ship. One animal on the end of that barn gets ill, it'll infect the entire group because they're packed in so tight. The same effect happens on a cruise ship. So you have to feed them the antibiotics, you have to feed them all these things. And of course, the big market, the commodity market for livestock isn't for quality, it's for pounds of product. So you don't get the best corn, you get the easiest one to grow with the most kernels on it. Same with pork and cattle. There's a big stuff going around with various chemicals the cattle are fed in order to get an extra 20 pounds on them.
There's a lot of controversy, I'll say there. I feel myself that it does. We've seen over the, I would say probably the last 30 years, that everyone is getting resistant to antibiotics. I don't believe it's just through physicians and us taking those. I feel that a lot of that is the consumption of animals that have received antibiotics.
This is our pasture pen designed for, or system for our broilers. Move twice a day. There's 75 birds to a pen. And because they're in these nice big pens and they move around twice a day and they're always on fresh ground, again, our need for antibiotics or any kind of growth stimulants, all of that's done away with.
Grass-fed is also, for health benefits, higher in omega-3s.
We've got a couple of customers that have celiac disease. They can't eat commercial beef because of the grain that they're allergic to. And, you know, that's a good example right there of how we're ingesting what that animal eats. Is they've got celiac disease, they can't eat grains, and then they can't eat the grain-fed beef either because they'll have allergic reactions to that, but they can eat grass-fed.
Grass-fed is the way nature intended for them to live. To slowly develop. A good grass-fed steer, it takes usually 18 months and sometimes longer.
I have a couple vegetarians
Yeah.
who eat it now. And they don't come and buy, 10 pounds of steak every week, but they are coming by.
Prior to World War II, all animals, or all cattle, were grass-fed. After World War II, because of supply and demand, we started the feedlots. And during that time, they found that antibiotics were necessary to increase weight gain. After that, more things came out. That's when the steroids were introduced, the growth implants, and that is why you get the 3 to 4 month weight gain, from 600 pounds to 1,200. I think that's something everybody ought to think about. I know a lot of people don't realize that they are confined, and that the environment that they're raised in. But to feed the mass, the world, this is what we have to do.